The handprint appears before anyone hears it. A soft, wet press. A smudge spreading across white fabric. Right over his chest. The hallway freezes. Crystal light from the chandelier fractures across polished marble as Ariel's breath catches in her throat. Her arms tighten instinctively around her daughter, but it's already too late. Nia's tiny fingers are still open, still resting against the man's shirt like she belongs there. She doesn't cry. She doesn't pull back. She looks up at him, calm and curious, as if she's just touched something familiar. Ariel feels the blood drain from her face. The man doesn't move. His jacket hangs over one shoulder, perfectly folded, the weight of it balanced like everything else about him. The white dress shirt beneath is ruined now, marked with a small, unmistakable brown handprint that stands out violently against the fabric. Too small to be threatening. Too visible to ignore. Someone gasps behind Ariel. Another cleaner steps back so fast her heel slips on the marble. No one speaks his name. No one ever does. Ariel's heart hammers so loudly she's sure he can hear it. This isn't just a man. This is the man people whisper about in service corridors and avoid making eye contact with. The one whose presence empties rooms without a word. I'm sorry, Ariel blurts out, the words tumbling over each other. She didn't mean to. I'll clean it. I'll pay for it. Please. Her voice sounds thin in the vast hallway. Nia shifts slightly in her arms, unimpressed by the panic. Her curls brush Ariel's chin. She smells faintly of baby soap and warm milk, soft, harmless things that don't belong in a place like this. The man finally looks down. Not at Ariel. At the stain. The silence stretches. It presses against Ariel's ears until it's almost painful. This is the moment, she thinks. The part where something breaks. Where consequences arrive. If you were here, watching this unfold, would you look away, or would you stay long enough to see what happens next? Because most people never get that chance. The man's gaze lifts slowly. It lands on Nia. Up close, his face is unreadable, sharp lines, controlled stillness, eyes dark and steady. There's no flicker of anger. No tightening of his jaw. Just focus. Nia stares back at him. Her hand lifts again. Ariel sucks in a breath. Nia, no. Too late. The baby pats his chest once more, right on the mark she's made, as if smoothing it out. Her small palm leaves a clearer imprint this time. Someone behind Ariel makes a choking sound. The man raises a hand. Not to strike. Not to shove them away. Just enough to stop Ariel from pulling back. Wait, he says. The word is quiet. Controlled. More frightening than shouting. Nia leans forward, her forehead resting briefly against his chest. She hums, a soft, absent sound, the way she does when she's content. Her body relaxes, heavy with trust. Ariel's knees threaten to give out. This isn't happening. This man has rooms emptied at his arrival. He has guards stationed 2 doors away. His name alone tightens spines. And her baby is resting against him like he's nothing more than furniture. She's calm, he says, almost to himself. Ariel swallows hard. She usually isn't. His eyes flick to her then. Sharp. Assessing. Like he's seeing her for the first time. You should be afraid, he says. I am, Ariel answers, before she can stop herself. She just doesn't know how yet. The air shifts. It's subtle, but everyone feels it. A recalibration. The kind that happens when something unexpected enters a closed system. The man looks back down at Nia. What's her name? He asks. The question lands like a dropped glass. My daughter? Ariel asks, stunned. Yes. Nia, she says. She's 18 months. He repeats it quietly. Nia. As if testing the sound. As if committing it to memory. Nia blinks slowly, unfazed, and curls her fingers into the fabric of his shirt. The stain darkens. Behind him, a voice hesitates. Sir, your meeting. Cancel it. The voice dies instantly. The man doesn't look away from the baby. Ariel's pulse roars in her ears. She can smell the sharp scent of polished stone and something metallic beneath it. Her palms are slick with sweat. Every instinct tells her to apologize again, to beg, to disappear. I'll replace it, she says softly. The shirt. I'll work extra shifts. Please. He finally looks at her fully. Up close, the power is suffocating. Not loud. Not aggressive. Just absolute. No, he says. Her stomach drops. No, he repeats, calm and final. You won't. He adjusts the jacket on his shoulder, careful not to disturb Nia. His eyes flick briefly to the stain, then back to Ariel. You'll bring her tomorrow. Ariel blinks. Tomorrow? Yes. For cleaning, she asks, even though something in his tone tells her that's the wrong question. For observation. Her breath catches. Observation of what? For the first time, something cracks through his composure, not softness, but curiosity sharp enough to cut. That, he says, touching the marked fabric once, remains to be seen. He steps past her. The hallway parts instantly. No one speaks until he's gone. Ariel stands there, shaking, clutching her daughter as if the marble floor might give way beneath her. Someone whispers behind her, barely audible. Do you know who that was? Ariel looks down at Nia. The baby smiles, completely at ease. Yes, Ariel says quietly. And as she walks toward the service elevator, one thought beats louder than her fear. Whatever her baby saw in that man. He saw it too. And if you think this ends here, you're wrong. Stay with us, because tomorrow changes everything. The hallway doesn't return to normal after he leaves. It pretends to, but Ariel feels the difference immediately. The air is thinner, like something essential has been removed. Conversations resume in fragments, hushed and angled away from her. Shoes move faster. Eyes refuse to meet hers. She keeps walking. Her legs feel hollow, like they're borrowing strength from somewhere else. Nia rests against her shoulder, warm and heavy, already drifting toward sleep as if nothing extraordinary has happened. As if her small hand hasn't just rewritten the rules of a house built on fear. Hey, a voice whispers urgently from behind. Ariel flinches and turns. It's the older cleaner, the one who warned her on her first day not to linger near the east wing. Her face is pale now, lips pressed tight. You need to leave, the woman says. Tonight. Ariel tightens her hold on Nia. I still have rooms. Forget the rooms, the woman snaps, then lowers her voice. Do you know what you did? I didn't do anything, Ariel says, though the words feel thin even to her own ears. The woman glances down the corridor, then back at Ariel. No one touches him. No one. Not staff. Not guests. Not family. Nia shifts, her fingers curling into Ariel's collar. That shirt, the woman continues, barely moving her lips, was custom. Imported. Hand-stitched. He fired someone last year for less. Ariel's mouth goes dry. Then why didn't he? She stops herself. The woman's eyes flicker. That's the problem. Ariel doesn't respond. There's nothing to say. She finishes her shift in a fog. Every sound feels louder. Every shadow stretches. When she finally steps outside, the night air hits her like a wall, cool, damp, real. She doesn't slow until she's halfway down the block. At home, the apartment feels smaller than ever. Ariel locks the door. Then checks it again. She drags a chair beneath the handle, even though she knows how ridiculous it looks. Her windows rattle faintly when a car passes outside. She freezes every time. Nia wakes briefly as Ariel changes her, blinking up at her with sleepy confusion. You're okay, Ariel whispers, more to herself than to the baby. You're safe. She lays Nia in the crib and watches her chest rise and fall. Counts the breaths. 1, 2, 3. The silence presses in. Ariel moves through the apartment on autopilot, checking the bathroom window, the back door, the lock on the bedroom. She turns off the lights, then turns one back on. The hum of the refrigerator sounds too loud. She unplugs it. She sits on the edge of her bed, phone in her hand, thumb hovering uselessly over the screen. She tells herself she's being paranoid. She tells herself this man has no reason to care about her. Then her phone vibrates. Once. Ariel's heart stutters. Unknown number. She stares at the screen for a full 5 seconds before opening it. Did she sleep? The words don't register at first. She reads them again. And again. Her fingers tremble. He's asking about the baby. Not the shirt. Not the incident. Not her. Nia. If this question makes your stomach drop, imagine being the one holding the phone. Would you answer, or pretend you never saw it? Ariel types, deletes, types again. Yes. 3 dots appear. Disappear. Her breath comes shallow now, fast and quiet so she won't wake Nia. Another message arrives. Does she always fall asleep so easily? Ariel closes her eyes. Disbelief pushes against the fear, sharp and disorienting. This man, this figure everyone avoids even speaking about, is lying awake somewhere, thinking about her child's sleep schedule. She shouldn't respond. Every instinct screams that engagement is a mistake. But another instinct rises higher. Stronger. The one that keeps Nia fed. Warm. Alive. Not usually, Ariel types. She's picky. There's a pause. Longer this time. Ariel's thoughts spiral. Has she said too much? Too little? Should she stop now? The phone vibrates again. Bring her tomorrow. No greeting. No explanation. Just a command. Ariel's throat tightens. For cleaning? She types, even though she already knows the answer. The reply comes almost immediately. For observation. The word sits heavy on the screen. Observation of what? Nia stirs in her crib, letting out a small sound. Ariel stands so fast the chair scrapes against the floor. She crosses the room in 2 strides, lifting her daughter into her arms, pressing her cheek into soft curls. No, Ariel whispers. No, no. Her phone vibrates again. 8 a.m. Another pause. Then one more message. Dress her warmly. Ariel stares at the screen until it dims. Her mind races through scenarios she doesn't want to name. Protection. Control. Danger disguised as interest. She thinks of the stain on the shirt. The way his eyes changed when Nia touched him. The silence that followed. She sinks onto the bed, Nia tucked against her chest, and rocks slowly. She could run. Pack a bag. Leave the city. Disappear before morning. But rent is due. Jobs are scarce. And something else, something she doesn't want to admit, keeps pulling her back to that moment in the hallway. The moment when nothing terrible happened. When fear paused. Ariel looks down at her daughter, who gazes back at her, calm and trusting. Why him? Ariel whispers. Why now? Nia blinks. The clock on the wall ticks louder than it should. 8 hours. That's all that stands between now and tomorrow. Ariel exhales slowly, reaches for her phone, and types one word. Okay. If you were in her place, would you do the same? Or would you walk away without looking back? Stay with us, because the choice she just made doesn't just change her life. It puts her baby in the center of something far bigger than either of them. The gates recognize him before Ariel does. They slide open without a sound, metal retreating into stone as the car rolls forward. Ariel's fingers tighten around the strap of Nia's carrier. Morning light spills across the estate, manicured hedges, pale stone, glass that reflects the sky so cleanly it feels unreal. A guard leans in at the window. One glance at the back seat. At the baby. Then a nod. They're waved through. Ariel swallows. The ease of it unsettles her more than resistance would have. Inside, the air smells faintly of citrus and polish. Footsteps echo, measured and deliberate. She follows the attendant down the corridor she remembers, the chandelier still glittering, the marble still cold beneath her shoes. Her pulse thumps a steady warning in her ears. Nia shifts, awake now, eyes wide and alert. She pats Ariel's chest, then peers past her shoulder, curious. Not afraid. The doors at the end of the hall open. He stands with his back to them, jacket draped over his arm, phone pressed to his ear. His voice is low, controlled, cutting through the room like a blade wrapped in velvet. No, he says. That won't be necessary. A pause. Yes. I'm aware of the cost. Another pause. He turns. His gaze lands on Nia first. The call ends without goodbye. Ariel stops just inside the doorway. Her breath catches as the distance between them collapses to a few quiet steps. He studies the baby the way someone studies a problem they didn't know they had, head tilted slightly, eyes attentive, not unkind. Nia blinks. Then she smiles. It's small, crooked, unmistakable. Ariel feels her shoulders drop an inch to spite herself. He notices everything. Good morning, he says, not to Ariel, but to the baby. Nia responds with a soft sound, a pleased hum. Her hands reach outward, fingers opening and closing like she's testing the air. Ariel shifts, instinctively protective. She usually takes a while with strangers. He nods once. I'm not a stranger. The words hang between them. He steps closer, slow enough to be deliberate. Close enough that Ariel can see the faint line near his collarbone, the careful neatness of his cufflinks, the absence of yesterday's stain. Different shirt. Same presence. He doesn't reach for Nia. He waits. Nia leans forward on her own, craning toward him. Her gaze tracks his face, his hands, the sharp line of his jaw. She studies him like she's cataloging details. She's mapping, he says quietly. Ariel frowns. Mapping? Patterns, he replies. People do it too. Children are just honest about it. Nia's attention drifts past him suddenly. Her smile fades. Her fingers curl into Ariel's sleeve. A man enters the room behind him, tall, sharp-eyed, movements efficient. Nia stiffens. The shift is immediate. He notices. Stop, he says, without raising his voice. The man freezes mid-step. Nia exhales, tension easing as her eyes return to the man in front of her. Her body relaxes again. Ariel's pulse spikes. She doesn't, she's not usually. She's consistent, he says. That's what matters. He glances at the man behind him. Wait outside. No argument. The door closes. If this makes you uneasy, you're not wrong to feel it. Patterns like this change how decisions get made. He gestures toward a chair near the window. Sit. Ariel hesitates, then obeys. The leather is cool beneath her palms. Nia watches him as he moves across the room, unhurried, as if time bends around him. He doesn't sit behind the desk. He sits across from them. The proximity shifts everything. Power no longer looms from afar, it settles into the space between breaths. He speaks again, softer now. She slept? Yes, Ariel answers. Better than usual. A flicker of something crosses his face. Satisfaction, maybe. Or relief. He reaches for a glass of water, pauses, then slides it closer to Ariel instead. The gesture is small. Intentional. A knock interrupts them. Sir, a voice says from the doorway. The board is assembled. He doesn't look away from Nia. Cancel. Ariel's eyes widen. Reschedule for next week, he adds. Tell them it's my decision. The door closes on stunned silence. Ariel shifts. You don't have to do that. I do, he replies. For accuracy. Nia reaches toward him again. This time he lets her touch his sleeve. She pats it, then withdraws, satisfied. Calm. He watches her with something dangerously close to wonder. Do you know, he says, how few people are allowed this close? Ariel doesn't answer. She's not sure it's a question. He stands and moves toward the glass wall on the far side of the room. With a gesture, it slides open, revealing a long table, several figures mid-conversation. They stop when they see him. Their eyes flick, to him, to Ariel, to the baby. Curiosity ripples through the room. This, he says, without turning, is where my inner circle meets. Ariel's chest tightens. Why are you showing me this? Because, he replies, finally facing her again, you're already here. He closes the glass. The quiet returns. Nia yawns. He smiles, brief and involuntary. You'll stay, he says, like it's already decided. Ariel's heart stutters. Stay how long? He considers her, then the baby, then the clock on the wall. Longer than planned. The words settle heavy and irreversible. Ariel looks down at Nia, who gazes back at her, serene and unbothered. If you were standing where she is, this close to power, this close to danger, would you pull away now? Or would you stay, just long enough to understand why the lion is watching your child so closely? The room isn't designed for comfort. It's designed for control. Ariel notices at the moment she steps inside, the way the chairs are positioned at exact angles, the absence of personal items, the soft hum beneath the silence that reminds her the space is always listening. Glass walls line one side of the room, thick enough to dull sound, clear enough to expose everything. This is where decisions happen. He doesn't tell her that outright. He doesn't need to. Sit, he says, gesturing to the chair beside him, not across, not behind. Beside. The placement feels deliberate. Ariel lowers herself carefully, adjusting Nia on her lap. The baby scans the room immediately, eyes alert, head turning in short, precise movements. Ariel feels the shift in herself, the instinct to shrink, to disappear, push back against something new. Awareness. The door opens. 2 men enter first. Suits. Confident posture. Their steps are measured, practiced. Nia glances at them briefly, then loses interest, pressing her cheek into Ariel's chest. She's bored, Ariel murmurs before she can stop herself. He doesn't look surprised. Not threatened, he says. The meeting begins. Numbers move across screens. Voices rise and fall. Ariel listens without understanding every word, but she watches everything else, the way hands move, the pauses between sentences, the air tightening when disagreements surface. Another man enters late. Shorter. Older. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. Nia stiffens instantly. Her body goes rigid in Ariel's arms, fingers digging into fabric. A small sound escapes her throat, not a cry, not quite, but sharp enough to slice through the conversation. Everyone stops. Ariel's pulse spikes. She doesn't usually. He raises a hand. The latecomer freezes, smile faltering. Nia's breathing quickens. Her eyes lock onto the man's face, wide and unblinking. The silence stretches. If you're watching this with us, this is the moment your instincts should start screaming too. Step back, he says calmly. The man hesitates. Now. The man complies, retreating a single step. Nia exhales. Her grip loosens. She turns her face away, burying it against Ariel's shoulder. The tension drains from the room in a rush that feels almost physical. He watches all of it. Then he looks at Ariel. Explain. Her mouth is dry. She reacts to energy. Not people. Not uniforms or titles. Just Ariel swallows. Threat. The word lands heavier than she expects. He doesn't contradict her. The meeting resumes, but everything has changed. Ariel notices the way his gaze flicks to Nia whenever someone speaks too quickly, too smoothly. She notices how often he asks questions now, not to challenge, but to observe. At one point, he leans closer. What do you see? The question catches her off guard. She hesitates. The man on the left keeps checking the door, she says quietly. He's not listening. He's waiting. He nods once. Her confidence grows with each moment she's asked to speak, and not dismissed. Fear gives way to something sharper. Responsibility. Another interruption. The same man returns, this time with documents. He doesn't smile. Nia cries out, loud, sudden, unmistakable. Ariel's heart jumps. She rises halfway out of her chair before realizing he's already standing. That's enough, he says, voice low and lethal. Leave. The man's face drains of color. Sir, Now. The door shuts behind him with finality. Ariel's hands shake as she soothes Nia, whispering until the baby calms. The room remains silent, waiting. He turns to her slowly. You were right, he says. She doesn't react to status. Ariel meets his gaze. For the first time, she doesn't look away. She reacts to danger. He studies her like she's just handed him a weapon he didn't know he had. Get me everything, he says into the room, not raising his voice. History. Associations. Financials. A pause. Discreetly. The glass wall slides closed. Ariel exhales shakily. I didn't mean to cause. You didn't, he interrupts. You clarified. The word settles over her, unexpected and grounding. Nia yawns, tension gone as quickly as it arrived. He watches her, then looks back at Ariel. You'll stay for the rest of the day. Ariel nods slowly, understanding the weight of what's just happened. Her voice mattered. And somewhere deep in the building, a countdown has begun. If you think this was coincidence, stay with us. Because the man Nia reacted to isn't done, and neither is the danger she just uncovered. The room empties without ceremony. Chairs slide back. Doors close. Footsteps retreat down corridors that swallow sound. When the last echo fades, the silence that remains is different, thicker, closer, like it has leaned in to listen. He doesn't move. Ariel stays seated, Nia balanced on her lap, feeling the aftershock of the meeting ripple through her body. Her pulse is still too fast. Her hands still remember the way the room changed when Nia cried. He stands by the window, backlit by pale afternoon light, one hand braced against the glass. The city beyond looks distant, flattened, like a painting hung for display rather than a place where people breathe. Do you know, he says without turning, how many men have tried to kill me? Ariel's mouth opens, then closes. She shakes her head once. More than I can count, he continues. Most of them believed they were justified. He turns then, slowly, as if speed might fracture something delicate. His expression is controlled, but the control looks tighter now, stretched thin. They start with loyalty, he says. They end with betrayal. Nia watches him, head tilted, eyes tracking his movements. She doesn't reach for him this time. She simply observes. Ariel shifts. You don't have to tell me this. I'm not, he replies. I'm telling the room. The distinction matters. It keeps the distance intact. He sits, not beside her, not across from her, but on the edge of the desk, posture careful, as if he's aware of the power his stillness carries. When I was young, he says, I believed there were rules. If you followed them, you were safe. A pause. I was wrong. The words fall flat, stripped of drama. That makes them heavier. My father trusted the wrong man, he continues. A partner. A friend. Someone who ate at our table. Ariel feels a tightening in her chest. She doesn't interrupt. He lost everything in a single night, he says. Business. Reputation. Protection. Nia makes a small sound, a questioning hum. He glances at her, then back at Ariel. My sister was younger than your daughter. Ariel's breath stutters. Was? He nods once. Chaos doesn't announce itself, he says quietly. It arrives dressed as routine. The silence stretches again, filled with images Ariel doesn't want but can't stop imagining. Nia shifts restlessly, sensing the change, her small body responding to something unspoken. Ariel rocks her gently, a steady rhythm meant to ground them both. She cried, he says. That night. His jaw tightens. I told her to be quiet. The words land with a dull thud. Ariel's fingers still. She trusted me, he adds. And I failed. The room seems to contract around that admission. It's not a confession, there's no absolution asked for, but it's close enough to sting. Nia reaches out then. Not urgently. Not suddenly. Her fingers brush the back of his hand where it rests against the desk. He freezes. For a heartbeat, Ariel worries she's misjudged everything. That this is the wrong moment. The wrong move. But Nia's touch is light. Curious. Warm. His breath catches, barely, but Ariel sees it. The tightness in his shoulders eases by a fraction. She doesn't know, he says softly. No, Ariel agrees. She just feels. He lets his hand stay where it is. When you look at me, he asks, what do you see? The question is dangerous. Ariel recognizes it immediately. Not because it threatens her, but because it invites honesty. She considers him carefully. The sharp tailoring. The scars he never mentions. The way the room bends to him. I see someone who learned early that softness was expensive, she says finally. He studies her, eyes narrowed, not angry. Assessing. And you? He asks. What did you learn? Ariel exhales slowly. I learned, she says, that survival looks different depending on where you start. She shifts Nia higher on her hip. The baby settles, thumb finding her mouth. I came here with a degree half finished and a child half expected, Ariel continues. People saw my skin before they saw my skills. My accent before my resume. He listens without interrupting. I cleaned houses because it paid fast, she says. Because flexibility matters when daycare costs more than rent. Because dignity doesn't pay bills. A pause. And because no one asks questions when you're invisible. Something flickers in his gaze. Invisibility is a weapon, he says. It's also a shield, Ariel replies. Their eyes hold. For a moment, the room feels balanced, two people who learned the same lesson from different sides of the same wound. Nia sighs contentedly and rests her head against Ariel's chest. She trusts you, he says quietly. Ariel doesn't deflect this time. She trusts calm, she says. And intention. He looks down at his hand, still near Nia's fingers. I don't deserve it. That's not how trust works, Ariel replies. You don't earn it. You keep it. The words hang there, risky and unpolished. The silence that follows isn't empty. It's full of things not said. Of lines not crossed. A sharp chime cuts through it. His phone lights up on the desk. Once. Twice. The third vibration is longer. He glances at the screen, and something in his expression shifts, subtle but unmistakable. The past recedes. The present sharpens. What is it? Ariel asks, already knowing the answer won't be simple. He doesn't respond immediately. His thumb moves across the screen. A message opens. Another follows. His jaw tightens. Someone is restless, he says finally. Nia stirs again, unsettled now, her body tensing. She whimpers, a sound caught between sleep and warning. Ariel's arms tighten around her. What do you mean? He stands, the moment closing like a door. It means, he says, voice low and precise, that our quiet observation has been noticed. The phone vibrates again. Ariel's pulse quickens. Noticed by who? He looks at Nia, at the way her fingers curl into Ariel's shirt, at the crease between her brows. By someone, he says, who believes movement is overdue. A knock sounds at the door. Sharp. Urgent. He doesn't answer it. Instead, he looks at Ariel with something that feels dangerously close to resolve. Stay close to me, he says. From now on. The knock comes again, louder this time. If you're still with us, don't look away now. Because whatever made him what he is, just woke up. And it's not done watching. Protection arrives quietly. Not with announcements or visible force, but with small, unsettling changes Ariel notices only because she's learned to watch the margins. A second guard near the elevator. A different driver waiting outside. Doors that used to open with a nod now require a coded glance. And always, eyes on Nia. They're subtle about it. Too subtle. Men positioned just far enough away to pretend coincidence, close enough to react before Ariel could take a breath. She feels it when she walks, when she sits, when she rocks Nia to sleep in the quiet room they've assigned her. A room that wasn't hers yesterday. Nia claps at one of the guards that morning, delighted by the shine of his watch. He stiffens, unsure what to do with joy directed at him. Don't engage, another guard murmurs. He hears it. So does Ariel. She's not dangerous, Ariel says, her tone sharper than intended. The guard bows his head slightly. No, ma'am. Ma'am. The word sits wrong. By midday, Nia has a detail. That's what they call it when Ariel asks, voice casual, heart racing, why the same two men have followed them from room to room for hours. For efficiency, one of them replies. For safety, the other adds. Ariel presses her lips together. Safety and surveillance are cousins. She knows this. She's lived it in other forms. When she finally sees him, he's already aware. You're unsettled, he says, not looking up from the tablet in his hands. Nia sits on the floor near his desk, contentedly stacking and unstacking a set of wooden blocks someone has thoughtfully provided. Ariel hadn't asked for them. I'm surrounded, Ariel replies. That's not the same thing as safe. He sets the tablet down slowly. It is, here. That's the problem, she says before she can stop herself. It's only safe on your terms. He looks at her then, really looks at her, and for a moment Ariel wonders if she's crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. You want me to remove them? He asks. Her breath catches. I want to understand why they're here. He considers this. Because someone is watching. Watching who? Ariel asks. He glances at Nia. The answer lands like a weight. Ariel's chest tightens. You think they'd hurt a child? I think, he says carefully, that leverage comes in many forms. Nia laughs, delighted when one of the blocks topples over. The sound feels too bright for the words hanging in the air. She's not leverage, Ariel says. She's not part of this world. Neither are you, he replies. And yet, here you are. The logic is flawless. That's what frightens her. Later, she finds herself escorted, not asked, to lunch. A private dining room. One guard at the door, another outside the hall. Nia eats happily, smearing fruit across her cheeks. Ariel barely tastes her food. You're being very quiet, he observes. I'm thinking, Ariel replies. About leaving, he says. She freezes. He doesn't smile. It would be a rational thought. And if I did, she asks. He doesn't answer right away. He watches Nia, the way she studies her hands, the floor, the light. I would make sure you weren't harmed. That's not the same as letting me go, Ariel says. No, he agrees. It isn't. The honesty lands harder than reassurance ever could. That afternoon, he tests her. Not overtly. Not cruelly. He slides a folder across the desk while Nia naps nearby, her breathing soft and even. Tell me what you see, he says. Ariel opens it. Photos. Documents. Names she doesn't recognize, but patterns she does, offshore accounts, shell companies, discrepancies that don't add up. This is illegal, she says quietly. Much of what keeps this place standing is, he replies. She closes the folder. Why show me? Because I want to know, he says, where your line is. Ariel meets his gaze. You're asking me to cross it. I'm asking you to define it, he corrects. The difference matters. She pushes the folder back. I won't help you hurt people. He nods once. Good. She blinks. That's it? For now. Trust, she realizes, isn't being handed to her. It's being weighed. The moment she overhears the conversation, it's by accident. She's returning from the quiet room with Nia asleep against her shoulder, footsteps careful, when voices drift through a partially open door. She's closer than we expected, one man says. And the child? Another asks. A pause. Even closer. Ariel stops breathing. She presses herself against the wall, heart slamming against her ribs as she listens. She's changed his routines, the first voice continues. Security patterns. Priorities. That makes her dangerous, the second replies. And the baby? Another pause. Longer. Pressure point. Ariel's stomach drops. She backs away silently, every nerve screaming. She doesn't run. Running makes noise. She moves one careful step at a time until she's out of earshot, then turns and walks, calm, controlled, terrified. She finds him in the observation room, staring at a screen that shows feeds she doesn't want to know exist. We need to talk, she says. He turns instantly. What did you hear? She tells him. Every word. Every pause. The room feels smaller when she's done. He doesn't interrupt. Doesn't deny it. Instead, he exhales slowly and rubs a hand over his jaw. It's earlier than I anticipated, he says. What is? Ariel demands. The shift, he replies. From curiosity to intent. Her voice shakes despite her effort to steady it. They see her as leverage. Yes. And you knew this was possible? I knew it was inevitable, he says. Nia stirs in her sleep, murmuring softly. Ariel tightens her hold instinctively. This ends, Ariel says. Now. He looks at her, and for the first time since they met, there's something unmistakably human in his eyes. Fear. It doesn't, he says quietly. Not unless you leave. Ariel's pulse roars in her ears. Then I will. His jaw tightens. They won't let you. Then you will, she says. The silence between them stretches, taut as wire. He finally nods. I will try. Try. The word echoes in her mind, hollow and insufficient. As she turns away, a terrible clarity settles over her. This was never just about protection. And Nia, her baby, her constant, her anchor, has become something else entirely. A reason. A target. If you're still listening, don't assume danger announces itself with violence. Sometimes it arrives quietly, dressed as concern. And once it sees what you love most, it doesn't look away. The first sign isn't loud. It's a delay. Ariel notices it when the elevator takes longer than usual to arrive. The numbers pause between floors, the soft chime that usually comes immediately lagging by a breath too long. Nia squirms against her shoulder, impatient, fingers tugging at Ariel's collar. Easy, Ariel murmurs. The doors open at last. A guard steps out, new face, same posture. He nods, eyes flicking to Nia before returning to neutral. They walk. Halfway down the corridor, the lights dim for a second. Just a second. Enough to raise the fine hairs along Ariel's arms. She stops. The guard stops with her. Power fluctuation, he says quickly. Does that happen often? Ariel asks. No, ma'am. That answer settles wrong. By noon, there are two more small things. A service door left ajar that should be sealed. A cart abandoned in a hallway that's always clear. Nothing overt. Nothing actionable. Just a pattern that doesn't belong. Nia grows restless. She turns her head sharply at passing footsteps, frowns when voices rise even a little. Once, when a man Ariel doesn't recognize passes too close, Nia lets out a sharp cry, high and sudden, then clings to Ariel's shirt as if she's afraid the floor might tilt. Ariel doesn't wait this time. She finds him in the operations room, standing over a table lit with quiet screens. He looks up the moment she enters, already reading her face. You feel it too, he says. Yes, Ariel replies. And so does she. He nods once. They're probing. Who? Ariel asks, even though she knows. The ones who believe patience is weakness, he says. And that leverage works faster than loyalty. Nia whimpers softly. Ariel rocks her, the movement automatic, grounding. This can't continue, Ariel says. You said you'd try to let us go. I did, he replies. And I am. She stares at him. This doesn't feel like trying. It feels like failing, he says. Because they've already decided you matter. The admission hits harder than denial would have. Ariel's jaw tightens. Then we leave now. Not tomorrow. Not after another meeting. Now. He considers her for a long moment. The room hums. Screens flicker. No, he says. The word lands like a slap. Anger flares hot and immediate, burning through the fear. You don't get to decide that, Ariel snaps. She's my child. I know, he says calmly. That's why I won't let you walk into a trap. Ariel steps closer. You don't know what's safer for us than I do. I know this place, he replies. And I know what happens outside it when people think they can make a point. That's not protection, Ariel says. That's a cage. His expression tightens, not offended, but pained. A cage has bars you can see, he says. What's waiting beyond these gates doesn't. The room goes quiet. If you're listening right now, ask yourself this, would you trust the danger you know, or the one you don't? By late afternoon, the near misses sharpen. A vehicle Ariel doesn't recognize idles too long near the south gate before rolling away. A drone buzzes overhead, low and fast, gone before anyone can track it. Security sweeps increase, voices clipped, movements efficient. Nia refuses to nap. She startles at every sound, tiny hands fisting in Ariel's shirt, her breath coming fast. Ariel feels the fear seep into her own bones, cold and persistent. I can't keep doing this, Ariel says when he comes to check on them. She knows something's wrong. He crouches in front of Nia, slow, deliberate, giving her space. I know, he says softly. Nia studies him, then reaches out, touching his sleeve. The tension in her body eases by a fraction. Ariel watches the exchange with conflicted relief. You're not the danger to her, she says quietly. No, he agrees. I'm the shield. That's what scares me, Ariel replies. Shields get hit. He looks up at her. So do doors that aren't reinforced. The words hang there, uncomfortably practical. As evening approaches, the estate tightens. Gates lock. Routes change. Ariel notices new faces, older, harder, eyes that miss nothing. She also notices how often those eyes flick to Nia. The realization makes her stomach churn. During dinner, a glass shatters in the kitchen. The sound is sharp, sudden. Nia screams. Not a cry, an alarm. Ariel stands instantly, heart racing, scanning the room. Guards move fast, too fast. Someone shouts an order. Another voice responds, clipped and urgent. He's beside her in seconds, one hand steadying her elbow, the other hovering near Nia without touching. It's contained, he says. What was it? Ariel demands. A test, he replies. A distraction. Her anger flares again. Then stop letting them test us. I am, he says. By not reacting the way they expect. That night, Ariel packs a bag anyway. She moves quietly, efficiently, folding clothes, gathering documents, slipping essentials into a small case. Her hands shake, but her resolve steadies with each item. She lays Nia down for a moment, kisses her forehead, then zips the bag closed. She turns, and finds him in the doorway. He doesn't block her path. He simply stands there. I can't stay, Ariel says. Not like this. He nods. I didn't think you would. Then let us go, she says. He steps aside. The hallway beyond is empty, silent, lit with soft, deceptive calm. Not yet, he says. Give me until morning. Ariel's voice breaks despite her effort to keep it steady. You keep saying that. Because it's the truth, he replies. They move at night. She hesitates. Reluctant trust is heavier than blind faith. It settles in the chest, uncomfortable but necessary. By sunrise, she says. Or I'm gone. He inclines his head. By sunrise. She returns the bag to the floor, every instinct screaming at her to run, every other instinct warning her not to. Hours pass. The estate grows quieter, not calmer. The kind of quiet that hums with anticipation. At 2:17 a.m., alarms don't sound. That's what makes it worse. Ariel wakes to the soft click of a door that shouldn't open. Nia stirs, restless. Ariel sits up, heart pounding, listening. Footsteps. Not many. Careful. Her phone vibrates on the nightstand. A single message. Stay where you are. Before she can respond, the lights flicker. Once. Twice. Then a voice crackles through the intercom, tight, urgent. Breach detected. Ariel scoops Nia into her arms, pulse roaring. The hallway outside erupts into motion, orders snapping, boots hitting marble. She doesn't know where he is. She doesn't know how close the danger is. She only knows one thing with terrifying clarity. This isn't a warning anymore. It's the beginning. If you think you know how this ends, don't blink. Because the next move won't give them time to choose, it will force them to survive. The first shot cracks the night open. It's close. Too close. The sound snaps through the corridor like a whip, sharp enough to rattle glass and tear Ariel fully awake. Nia screams in her arms, a raw, terrified sound that scrapes Ariel's nerves bare. Lights die. Not all at once, just enough to plunge the hall into fractured shadow. Emergency strips flicker along the floor, red and low, turning marble into something dark and wet-looking. Ariel runs. Bare feet slap stone as she bolts from the bedroom, Nia pressed tight against her chest, her heart hammering so hard it hurts. Voices shout somewhere ahead, short, urgent commands in clipped tones. Another gunshot echoes, followed by the unmistakable sound of something heavy hitting the floor. She doesn't know where he is. That thought cuts deeper than the fear. She turns the corner, and nearly collides with him. He appears out of the darkness like he's been carved from it, one arm already wrapping around her, pulling her hard into his chest. Before she can speak, before she can even breathe, he pivots, turning his body so it's between her and the corridor behind them. Down, he orders. A burst of gunfire answers him. He moves with brutal efficiency, shoving Ariel and Nia toward the wall as bullets spark against stone. One tears into the marble column inches from her head, shards exploding outward. He takes the hit meant for them. Ariel feels the impact through him, a sharp jolt, a grunt he doesn't let turn into a sound. His body locks around hers, solid and immovable, absorbing the chaos. If you're listening to this and your chest feels tight, that's because this is the moment where instinct outruns reason. Move, he says, low and urgent, steering them toward a hidden door Ariel has never seen before. It slides open at his touch. They plunge inside as another explosion rocks the hallway. The panic room seals with a heavy, final thud. Steel. No windows. One dim light overhead. The air smells faintly of oil and something metallic. Nia sobs, face buried in Ariel's shoulder. Ariel sinks to the floor, back against the wall, rocking her baby, whispering nonsense words through shaking lips. It's okay, Mama's here. Her phone vibrates violently in her pocket. She fumbles it out, hands slick with sweat. Status? She types back without thinking. Where are you? No response. Outside the room, the world fractures. Gunfire erupts again, closer now, then farther away. Shouting. The heavy thud of boots. Something crashes, followed by a curse. The sounds bleed through the walls, muffled but unmistakable. Minutes stretch. Nia's cries soften to hiccuping sobs, her small body trembling against Ariel's. Ariel presses her face into Nia's hair, breathing her in, anchoring herself to the one thing that matters. And in the middle of the chaos, an unwanted thought surfaces. If he doesn't come back, something inside her will break. The realization shocks her more than the gunfire. She hasn't known him long. She doesn't trust his world. She hates the danger that clings to him like a shadow. But the idea of this room opening to silence, of him not standing there, alive and steady, sends a sharp, grief-shaped pain through her chest. She hates herself for it. She hates that she cares. Another explosion booms, closer than before. The panic room shudders. Dust drifts from the ceiling. Nia cries again, louder this time. Ariel grips her tighter. Please, she whispers into the dark, not sure who she's begging anymore. Please. If you've ever prayed without believing in miracles, you know this feeling. Then, nothing. No gunfire. No shouting. Silence. Not peace. Not relief. The kind of silence that rings in your ears and makes every breath sound too loud. Ariel freezes, heart slamming against her ribs. She listens. Counts seconds. 10. 20. The door doesn't open. Her phone vibrates again. Hold. She exhales shakily, tears blurring her vision. Nia whimpers, then quiets, exhausted. Time stretches thin. Finally, movement. A code beeps softly. The door unlocks. Ariel scrambles to her feet, clutching Nia so tightly she feels her own arms ache. The door swings open. He stands there. Blood stains his sleeve. His suit is torn at the shoulder, darkened where fabric clings wetly. A shallow cut runs along his cheek, red against pale skin. His breathing is steady, but heavier than before. Alive. The relief hits Ariel so hard her knees nearly buckle. You're safe, he says. Not a question. A confirmation he needs to hear out loud. She nods, unable to speak. He steps inside and closes the door behind him, sealing the room again. Only then does he sway, just slightly. Enough that Ariel sees it. You're hurt, she says, voice shaking. He waves it off. Not badly. Blood drips onto the floor. Nia lifts her head from Ariel's shoulder, eyes wide. She studies his face, then reaches out with a small, unsteady hand. Her fingers brush his cheek. Right where the cut is. He freezes. The room seems to hold its breath. Nia frowns, a serious little crease forming between her brows. She makes a soft sound, almost a question, then pats his face gently. Something in him gives. He sinks down onto one knee in front of them, the movement careful, controlled, like he's afraid of startling her. His eyes close briefly as Nia's hand lingers on his skin. I'm here, he murmurs, so quietly Ariel almost doesn't hear it. I'm still here. Ariel swallows hard, tears spilling freely now. You didn't have to, she starts. Yes, he interrupts softly. I did. She meets his gaze, really meets it this time. Whatever she sees there is different, raw, unarmored in a way that frightens her more than his violence ever did. Outside the room, distant sirens wail. Cleanup begins. Orders are given. Inside, time feels suspended. Nia leans forward, resting her forehead against his. Her breathing slows. Her body relaxes. Ariel watches them, heart aching with something she doesn't have a name for yet. He looks up at Ariel then. I'm sorry, he says. The words are simple. Unpolished. Dangerous in their sincerity. For what? Ariel asks. For bringing this to your door, he replies. For not being able to keep it away. Ariel shakes her head. You kept us alive. Yes, he says. Tonight. The implication hangs heavy. He rises slowly, steadier now, and steps back. The man who emerges is not the same one who shoved her into the panic room. There's something altered in his posture, his gaze, as if a line has been crossed that can't be uncrossed. The door opens again, just a crack. A guard peers in, eyes wide at the sight of blood. It's done, the guard says. They're gone. A pause. For now. The guard leaves. Silence returns, different this time. Fragile. Earned. Ariel exhales, her body finally acknowledging the terror it's been holding back. She looks down at Nia, who yawns and settles against her, already drifting toward sleep. Then she looks back at him. Whatever this is, whatever has formed between them tonight, it's no longer hypothetical. It's real. And it's dangerous. If you think surviving the attack is the end of this story, you're wrong. Because what walks out of this room isn't just a man who lived. It's someone who has changed. And change, in a world like his, never goes unanswered. Morning arrives without permission. It seeps into the estate through tall windows and narrow corridors, pale and unearned, illuminating damage that looks worse in daylight. Cracks spider across marble tiles. A dark smear stains the wall where someone leaned too long. The smell lingers, metallic, sharp, impossible to ignore. Ariel sits on the edge of the bed in the room they moved her to before dawn. Not her old room. Not a guest suite either. Something in between. Protected. Watched. Nia sleeps curled against her, one small hand fisted in Ariel's shirt like an anchor. Every few minutes Ariel checks her breathing, the habit refusing to loosen its grip even now. The door opens softly. He doesn't announce himself. He never does. Ariel looks up anyway. Some instinct she doesn't want to name alerts her the moment he steps inside. He's changed clothes, fresh shirt, dark jacket, but the cut on his cheek remains, a thin line that pulls when he moves his jaw. Alive, her mind insists again. Still alive. Relief washes through her, slow and heavy, leaving exhaustion in its wake. You should be resting, he says quietly. So should you, Ariel replies. He nods, accepting the rebuke without comment. He stays near the door for a moment, as if unsure how close is allowed now. The hesitation is new. It unsettles her more than his confidence ever did. I wanted to see her, he says. Ariel shifts slightly, careful not to wake Nia. She's been out since sunrise. He steps closer, gaze softening as it finds the baby. The room feels smaller when he's near, intimate in a way Ariel isn't ready to examine. She slept through the rest of the night, he asks. Yes. He exhales, slow and controlled. Relief, mirrored. Ariel watches him, noticing things she couldn't before, the stiffness in his shoulder, the way his hand flexes unconsciously like it's testing pain. He's holding himself together by habit alone. You're hurt, she says again. I've been worse, he replies. That doesn't make it nothing. He looks at her then, really looks at her, and something shifts. He pulls a chair closer and sits, lower than her eye level. The gesture is subtle, but the meaning lands hard. I owe you an apology, he says. The words stun her. For what? Ariel asks carefully. For asking you to trust me without earning it, he replies. For letting my world spill into yours. She studies his face for signs of calculation. There are none. Only restraint. Only something dangerously close to regret. That apology, she says slowly, could get you killed. A faint smile touches his mouth. I know. Silence stretches between them. Not awkward. Charged. Ariel breaks it first. They came for us. Yes, he says. Because they thought it would force my hand. And did it? He doesn't answer immediately. He looks down at Nia, her lashes dark against her cheeks, her breathing slow and even. Yes, he says finally. The honesty tightens Ariel's chest. What happens now? She asks. Now, he says, nothing moves without me knowing. That doesn't sound like freedom. It sounds like survival. Ariel's jaw tightens. Those aren't the same thing. They are when the alternative is death. Nia stirs then, making a small sound. Her eyes flutter open, unfocused at first. She blinks, then turns her head toward him. Her gaze locks. She studies his face intently, as if confirming something she remembers. Her brow furrows. Then she smiles, a slow, deliberate smile that feels intentional in a way that makes Ariel's breath hitch. Nia lifts one small hand. Reaches. He doesn't hesitate this time. He leans forward, offering his fingers. She grabs them with surprising strength. And then she speaks. It's not a word, not fully. Just a sound, breathy and bright. Ah. Ariel freezes. He freezes too. Nia tries again, louder now, delighted with herself. Ah. The sound isn't random. Ariel hears it immediately. The cadence. The intention. She swallows hard. Is she? He starts, then stops. Nia looks between them, then back at him. Ah, she repeats, patting his hand. Something breaks. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just enough. Ariel feels it in her chest, a quiet fracture spreading outward. Her baby's first sound, her first attempt at a word, is directed at him. Not at her. Not at the world. At him. He closes his eyes briefly, jaw tightening, as if holding back something far more dangerous than anger. She doesn't, Ariel begins, unsure what she's trying to explain. I know, he says softly. But she chose. The word echoes. Chosen. Nia laughs, pleased with the attention, and leans forward until her forehead rests against his knuckles. Her body relaxes completely, trusting in a way that terrifies Ariel more than the gunfire did. I would die for her, he says. The declaration is quiet. Certain. Ariel's breath catches. That's not something you say lightly. I don't say it lightly, he replies. I say it precisely. The room feels too small for what's happening. For the weight of it. For the way Ariel's world seems to tilt around this single moment. You can't build a future on promises made after blood, Ariel says, fighting to keep her voice steady. I can, he replies. Because blood clarifies. She looks at him, really looks, and sees the truth of it. The danger. The devotion. The impossibility. He stands slowly, careful not to disturb Nia. Stay. The word lands between them. Not a command. A plea. Stay, he repeats. Here. With me. Ariel's heart pounds. You're asking me to give up my life. I'm asking you to protect it, he counters. And hers. That's not the same thing. It is, he says, in the long run. She looks down at Nia, who yawns and settles back against her chest, her small fingers still curled around his. The connection feels permanent in a way Ariel isn't ready to accept. If I stay, Ariel says slowly, I lose the right to walk away. Yes, he answers without hesitation. And if I leave? He holds her gaze. I will make sure you're protected. But not free. No, he agrees. Not completely. The honesty is a knife. Clean. Sharp. Ariel stands, stepping back instinctively, widening the space between them. Her thoughts race, images of open streets, of anonymity, of nights without guards or whispers. Of danger she understands versus danger she can't see. Nia shifts in her arms, murmuring softly. Ariel presses her lips to her daughter's hair, breathing her in. I need time, she says. He nods once. You have until tonight. She meets his eyes, searching for manipulation. Finds none. Only certainty. As he turns to leave, she speaks. If I stay, this changes you. He pauses at the door. It already has, he says quietly. When the door closes behind him, Ariel sinks back onto the bed, heart racing. Stay and be protected. Leave and be hunted. Safety or freedom. There is no choice that doesn't cost her something. If you think you know which one she'll choose, ask yourself, what would you give up to keep your child alive? Because the next decision won't just define her future. It will bind her to his. 6 months later, the garden breathes. Morning light spills across trimmed hedges and pale stone paths, warming the air just enough to carry the scent of jasmine and freshly cut grass. Birds skim low over the fountain, fearless, as if this place has always been peaceful. Ariel knows better. She stands beneath the shade of a wide magnolia tree, watching Nia wobble across the lawn on unsteady legs. The child laughs when she almost falls, catching herself with a dramatic flourish that makes Ariel's chest tighten with pride and fear in equal measure. Slow down, Ariel calls softly. Nia ignores her, as always. A pair of men stand at the edge of the garden, pretending to admire the view. Their eyes never leave Nia. Ariel notices the way they shift when the child veers too close to the fountain, how one subtly adjusts his position to block a blind spot. Protection has become part of the landscape. So has he. He emerges from the house moments later, jacket abandoned somewhere inside, sleeves rolled just enough to show the faint scars along his forearm. The man who once commanded rooms with silence now crouches in the grass without hesitation. I've got her, he says. Nia squeals and barrels straight into him. He catches her easily, lifting her high, spinning once before settling her against his shoulder. Her laughter rings out, bright and unguarded, and something in his expression softens in a way Ariel still isn't used to seeing. You're spoiling her, Ariel says, though there's no bite in it. That's my responsibility now, he replies. Responsibility. The word still feels strange coming from him. Life has changed in ways Ariel never imagined, and in ways she understands all too well. She no longer cleans rooms. She no longer keeps her head down or her voice small. Her days are filled with schedules, conversations, decisions that ripple outward into places she doesn't always see. She's learned where to sit in a room to be heard. She's learned when silence is more dangerous than speech. And she's learned that staying didn't mean surrender, it meant negotiation. They sit together on the stone bench near the fountain, Nia perched between them, busy with a leaf she's decided is fascinating. For a moment, the world feels almost ordinary. Warmth settles in Ariel's chest. Hope, too. It's dangerous, she knows. Hope always is. How is the meeting, she asks. Contained, he replies. No surprises. She studies his face, searching for the tells she's learned to read. There's tension there, but controlled. Measured. You're holding something back, she says. He exhales. I always am. She accepts that answer. Some truths arrive slowly, and some never arrive at all. Later, as the afternoon stretches long and quiet, Ariel walks the corridors she once rushed through with her eyes down. The estate hums with a different rhythm now, less frantic, more deliberate. Fewer unknown faces. Fewer sharp corners. Still, she feels it sometimes. The sense of being watched. Not by guards. By something patient. That evening, as dusk settles, Nia grows restless. She refuses to eat, pushing her bowl away with a frustrated sound. Her gaze keeps drifting toward the windows, small fingers curling tight around Ariel's sleeve. What is it, baby? Ariel murmurs. Nia doesn't answer. She just whimpers softly, her body tense in a way Ariel has learned not to ignore. He notices immediately. She's uneasy, he says. Yes, Ariel replies. She hasn't been like this all day. They exchange a look, shared, unspoken. He gestures subtly, and a guard steps closer to the window, scanning the grounds. Everything appears normal. Lights glow softly. The gates remain sealed. No alarms. No movement. Still, Nia's distress doesn't ease. Ariel carries her inside, pacing slowly, whispering reassurances that don't quite reach either of them. The warmth from earlier cools, replaced by a familiar unease that creeps along Ariel's spine. That night, after Nia finally falls asleep, Ariel stands by the window, staring out at the darkened garden. The magnolia's leaves rustle in the breeze. Shadows stretch long and thin across the lawn. He joins her quietly. You feel it, he says. Yes, she answers. Do you? He doesn't respond immediately. When he does, his voice is low. I feel anticipation. The word chills her. From who? She asks. Not who, he says. When? Days pass. Routine returns, but it's thinner now, stretched taut. Ariel finds herself listening harder, watching longer. Nia clings more than usual, her calm fractured by moments of sudden fear she can't explain. One afternoon, as Ariel sits with Nia on the floor, sorting through blocks, the child freezes mid-motion. Her head snaps up. Her eyes fix on the door. She lets out a sharp cry, short, piercing, unmistakable. Ariel's heart jumps. Nia? The door opens. A man steps inside. He's new. Clean-cut. Efficient. Introduced earlier that day as a consultant, temporary, vetted, unremarkable. He smiles politely when he sees them. Sorry, he says. Didn't mean to interrupt. Nia screams. The sound is raw and panicked, nothing like her usual protests. She scrambles toward Ariel, clutching her shirt with desperate force. Ariel scoops her up instantly, pulse roaring. What's wrong? The man asks, concern plastered across his face. Ariel doesn't answer. She looks past him. He's already there. The room shifts as he enters, presence heavy and immediate. His gaze locks onto Nia first, then flicks to the man standing near the door. Leave, he says. The man hesitates. Sir, I was just. Now. The smile falters. The door closes behind him. Nia's crying subsides slowly, her body still tense, eyes tracking the door long after it's gone. The silence that follows is thick. He turns to Ariel, something dark and focused in his expression. She reacted the same way. Ariel nods, throat tight. Just like before. Just like the first time. She doesn't do this for everyone, Ariel says quietly. Only when there's danger, he finishes. The realization settles over them like a shadow. He reaches for his phone, movements precise. I want everything, he says into it. Immediately. Ariel holds Nia close, her heart pounding. You said we were safe. We are, he replies. For now. The words offer no comfort. That night, Ariel doesn't sleep. She lies awake listening to the estate breathe, to Nia's soft, uneven breaths. Every sound feels amplified. Every pause stretches too long. At dawn, she stands by the window again, watching mist curl over the garden. Nia stirs. Her small body tenses. She whimpers, then cries, a warning Ariel has learned to trust above all else. Ariel's chest tightens. She knows this feeling now. This isn't fear of the past. This is anticipation of something approaching. Ariel looks down at her daughter, then toward the door, toward the corridors beyond, toward the world that never truly stopped watching. She senses it, Ariel whispers. He stands beside her, gaze hardening. Yes. What is it? She asks. He doesn't answer. Because he doesn't have to. Some dangers don't announce themselves. They wait. And as Nia's cries echo softly through the room, Ariel understands with chilling clarity. The future isn't safe. It's just quieter. For now. If you're still here, don't turn away. Because the next thing Nia senses won't be a warning. It will be the beginning.